This is the Samyang 85mm 1.4 RF, and here's why it's my favorite budget lens recommendation for the Canon RF system in 2022. What's up guys, Brady here, and today I want to bring to your attention one of the best value lenses I've ever gotten. Back in September, I got this Samyang 85mm for under $600 from B&H with overnight shipping. Now, I had actually just gone mirrorless in full frame, so I was still using my trusty nifty 50 for most of my portrait photography sessions. This worked out fine, but jumping to full frame made the 50 a bit wide, and I kind of lost a bit of compression. I started looking at RF lenses, and that's when things got a little bit pricey. To be fair though, I am filming this on a Canon R5. But a friend of mine told me about his experience with this lens, and so I figured I'd give it a shot. Undoubtedly one of the best decisions I've made for my photography business all of last year. As you can see, the photos taken with this lens are really sharp, like Canon L series levels. Also, something to note, Samyang and Rokinon are the same company, so if you see this lens with a different name, they're both the exact same thing. I would recommend that you pick up whatever's cheapest at the time. This sharpness in conjunction with the wide 1.4 aperture make this lens an absolute king of low light. I shoot all of my neon and nighttime portraits with this lens and this lens only. With that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about compression. Camera lens compression is at the heart of every single lens you use, from your camera to your phone. And you might have actually noticed it, but not quite known what it was. Allow me to explain using my iPhone 13. Alright, so now we are on the iPhone 13, and as you can see, I look pretty natural. I'm at the widest that my front camera can go. So if I were to zoom in and back up a bit, you'll notice I become a little more flat, a little more compressed. It looks more natural, but if I come closer, notice how warped I am. My head is not that long. So if I were to zoom back out, you can see compression at play because I'm at a tighter focal length. So that is camera lens compression. With all of that in mind, the 85 is one of those tighter focal lengths that many consider to be a sort of Goldilocks zone in terms of compression for portraits. It flattens out your subject to a level that adds much more depth while still appearing flattering to, for example, more feminine models that you might be working with. Because of this versatility and the fact that most of my contract photo work involves headshots, I almost never take this lens off of my camera when I'm doing photography work. It's not perfect, though. Samyang has released several software updates to improve the little things like autofocus speed and reliability with the in-body image stabilization with cameras like the Canon R6 and R5. In order to update the firmware on this lens, you have to have the Rokinon RF docking station, which usually runs around $60 plus US. However, Lens Rentals happens to also carry this for around $19 before shipping and fees, so I've got one on rental that actually gets here a day after tomorrow from when I film this. I haven't had any problems personally with mine, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and update it. It's also not quite as ideal for something like wider things where the 50 and 24-70, which I'm actually filming this on right now, might make a bit more sense. Like landscapes, but are you really buying an 85 to shoot landscapes? Alternatives for this lens include the Canon 85mm f2 IS RF, which is pretty comparable in price at only $599, and the RF 85mm 1.2L, which I'll get to the price of that in a minute. It's not cheap. Here's why I didn't go with either of those. The 85 f2 is nice, but some tests I've seen have displayed a little bit of disparity in sharpness compared to that of the Samyang and Rokinon, and you also don't get that nice depth of field from the f1.4 aperture. As for the Canon RF 85mm 1.2L, well, it costs about as much as my R5, and I could get two used EOS R bodies for the price of that one lens. The value equation doesn't quite add up there. So with that 1.4 aperture, the beautiful bokeh and the low light capabilities, and comparable features to Canon's more expensive L series lenses without the L series price tag, the Samyang/Rokinon 85mm 1.4 RF is my go-to recommendation for anybody shooting Canon mirrorless and Sony mirrorless, because they have a Sony E-mount version of this lens as well. I'll include links to both of those down below if you want to pick either of them up. They will be affiliate links which help support the channel at no extra cost to you, the viewer. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like button down below to let me know. And if you want to hear more from me, definitely consider hitting that big red subscribe button and bell notification icon next to it so you can always be in the know when I upload new videos. Do you own a Samyang / Rokinon 85mm 1.4 RF or E-mount? Or if you're thinking about buying one, leave a comment down below and let's have a chat about it. Feel free to drop by my subreddit r/clipplaytv for any more in-depth comments, questions, or suggestions. And as always, see you in the next one.